Oh, looks like another alien invasion in Times Square. Off we go. It's clobbering time! Yeah! Flame on! Yeah, well. Take it easy, guys. Just got to check the car seat first. You're kidding, right? No, no. I've got to make sure the baby's safe. Let me just double check it. I checked it before we came out here. It was fine. I'm sure it'll still be fine. Just give me 5 minutes. But 5 minutes. Read, we got to go now. Honestly, it will take me. But okay. Johnny, Ben, can you just give me a hand with this? Just need to feed the seatbelt through and just click it in, bolt it down if that's all right. Okay, fine. So right, it's through. I've slotted it through. No. You need to slot the belt through. Slot it through the slits. I've slotted it through. I've slotted it through. Just put it in. That's it. Done. We need to go, Reed. Come on, we need to go. It's not slotted through, Johnny. You just need to slot it through. Just put it through the slots in there. I put slots in there for this reason. The seatbelt goes through, anchors it in. It's that simple. It's not simple. How can you have built a flying car, but you can't build a seat that goes in just easy like that? What? Why? Why do you have to build something so ridiculously stupid like this? You have to try and install. All right, just calm down, okay? Ben, you help Johnny. Just pull the tension in the seatbelt. I'll push it down. That's it. Should be done. Ready? 1, 2, 3, push. Oh. Right, it's done. Okay, all sorted. Fine. Can we go? Yes. Now we can go. Now that the car seat's in, we can all get in and go. And oh, everyone's dead. What do you mean everyone's dead? Yeah, sort of took a little bit too long. My bad. But at least you know for next time, right? So Fantastic Four First Steps is a movie released in 2025 starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn and Eboch Moss-Bachrach, and directed by Matt Shakman. Now the first thing to say is that this is a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about having the movie ruined for you. Just sit back and relax and hopefully enjoy this video. So just when everything seems fine and well with the Fantastic Four, they receive a visit from an invading Silver Surfer who tells them that their world has been marked for destruction in the form of being devoured by Galactus. That causes the Fantastic Four to come together, force them into action to try and prevent the Earth's destruction. Now this movie does take place in an alternate Earth set in the 1960s, and you do really feel that vibe of the 1960s throughout the entire movie, and it is a really nice touch. It also explains why that when there's a sort of an Earth-threatening threat in the form of Galactus, there's no Avengers to call upon. It is just the Fantastic Four there to protect the Earth, and they are known as the Earth's protectors in this world. There is no origin featured in this movie. It's just told through flashbacks on or in the form of a documentary style on a talk show introduction. And part of that introduction is also showing the Fantastic Four fighting against previous threats that have basically threatened New York and other parts of the world as well. So straight away, as the film begins, we do see that the Fantastic Four are a very capable force and able to hold their own against any threats they have previously faced. And that does ramp up the threat that Galactus does pose as well in the movie. And that does do a good job in showing the grand scale of the threat that Galactus is posing against the world. Now, the overall theme of this movie is family. It does show the family bond that's been created amongst the Fantastic Four, as well as the centerpiece really of this film being Franklin Reed, who is the baby that Sue Storm is carrying. She is pregnant at the beginning of this movie and then does give birth halfway through, and it is all centered around the baby, not just during the pregnancy but also after his birth. And that is not a spoiler, okay? So before you come in and say that I've spoiled the movie for you, trust me, that is not a spoiler. And coming into this film, I did see a lot of hate online for this movie with the dynamics of the Fantastic Four. A lot of people were saying that Reed Richards is sidelined with Sue Storm taking the role of the leader of the group, and that Reed Richards or Pedro Pascal is a poor incarnation of Reed Richards. And for me, none of that is true. Throughout this movie, it's quite clear that Reed Richards is the leader. He is the one that everyone turns to try and solve the problems of what they're facing. And in particular, when it's trying to work out, or when they're trying to work out how to defeat Galactus, it's Reed Richards who is at the core of it all, trying to work out, using all of his knowledge, all of the formulas that he can muster up together to try and work out a way of protecting the Earth. And it does start off with him trying to work out a way of defeating Galactus, but then it also then develops into just trying to hide the Earth away from him, trying to, preserve life as the priority. And this film does do a very good job of showing each individual character's strengths, not just as their superhero side, but also as their role within the main Fantastic Four dynamic. And each one of them does have their own part to play, not only in the final battle, but also in the build-up of the main story as well. The chemistry amongst the Fantastic Four across all four characters is absolutely brilliant. You have obviously the relationship or the marriage between Reed and Sue that is just, it's very, you see like it have its ups and downs, but you see them come together to try and work out how to move past any obstacle they've got that's facing them. And there are a few obstacles to that as well, with them having, you have Sue who's quite emotional with the decisions that she's trying to make, but then you have Reed who's not only emotionally attached to it, but also trying to be that scientist of using pure logic to try and work out the best outcome. Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm as well, they play off each other really, really well in this, and there's no petty animosity between them, which is quite nice to see compared to the previous incarnations. You see them as, there is a bit of comic relief between them, but they are very close together. It's in the trailers as well, you sort of see them as being mentioned as being the best uncles, and then you have the mother and father, and you see that dynamic. They're all just very close together, and there aren't any petty squabbles between them, and there's no infighting either, which is just, it's so refreshing to see after getting bogged down with the previous movies of just the infighting that's going on between them. And the casting as well, the casting is absolutely spot on, with every single cast member being able just to show each character as their own entity throughout the movie. As I said, Reed is the leader of the group, but each one of them has their own strengths in their own respect as well. You do see a lot of the powers. The film is mainly dominated by Sue Storm's powers, but also you see a lot of the Human Torch and a lot of the Thing, sort of showcasing his strength and his abilities as well. There isn't much time dedicated to Reed Richards' superpower, but it does instead devote that time to showing his high level of intelligence, which is also something he's very well known for. And the special effects of this movie are just a grade above what we've seen in the previous Marvel movies, even going as sort of recently as Captain America 4. The special effects on all of the Fantastic Four are absolutely superb, and they finally nailed the stretch effect for Mr. Fantastic. The portrayal of Galactus as well is absolutely fantastic, and he does just impose himself on every single scene that he's in. You do see him as that world-ending threat. And the other backlash that came out online was the Silver Surfer being a woman, and to be honest, it doesn't make any difference in this movie whatsoever. The Silver Surfer is just that entity, that herald of Galactus that comes along and just brings that message that your world is doomed and there's nothing you can do about it. In this movie, it does go one step beyond, where the Silver Surfer is then actively trying to foil any plot that the Fantastic Four have to try and save their world. And, it does mirror some of the themes and some of the outcomes of the Fantastic Four 2, Rise of the Silver Surfer. But it's so much more satisfying in this movie. Where in the Fantastic Four 2, you had it where ultimately all ability and all duty to save the Earth from Galactus was just passed on to the Silver Surfer. It's not like that in this case at all. Every single one of them plays their own role in that final battle, and it's just really great to see on screen all of them playing off each other's powers and combining together to just combat a threat that I don't think we've seen on screen other than Thanos. And on that point, this film does fix a lot of the issues from the previous movies that we've had portraying the Fantastic Four. You've got the chemistry that's there, that I don't think any other movie has really sort of shown beforehand anyway. It fixes a lot of the issues are fixed really within the beginning, where you show in flashback form how they came to be what they are. And this film is set 4 years after that initial accident, and we then by doing that we bypass a lot of the whole trying to get to grips with their powers, knowing where they fit in with the dynamic of the team, trying to bring the team together, how they can work together to like come to one objective. And instead what we get is a team of individuals who have mastered their powers, know exactly how to play off each other, and just some things we haven't seen before, like the Human Torch being able to absorb fire from around him as well and put out fires in New York. Just things like that. It just, it's great to see on screen, and it just filters out all of that stuff that just slowed the previous films down to an absolute halt. But this movie isn't without its flaws. It does take a little bit of time to get going once again. There aren't many action set pieces in this movie. There are only really two, if you don't count the flashback scenes at the very beginning. It does show that the Fantastic Four have previously dealt with other threats that have come up against or have threatened the lives of people in New York before, and they have successfully overcome them and defeated them. But I think it probably would have been better if you had one threat, a low-level threat, that they were able to easily overcome, shown as part of the movie rather than in a flashback. Whilst showing those previous instances do really well in showing just how threatening Galactus is, because they're not able to easily overcome him and don't really know the answer to how they do it. If they'd just shown one of them at the very beginning, it would have broken up I would say the dull parts at the beginning of the movie, and would have actually given a little bit more of a kickstart to the action and a kickstart to the movie in general. There are some pacing issues in this, and a lot of that is down to the scenes where we're trying to see Reed Richards for the genius that he is. There is a lot of time dedicated to showing them working out how to defeat Galactus and sort of trying to piece together why the Silver Surfer is doing what they're doing and how they came to be. And it's stringing those clues together to try and come up with the answer. And whilst it is necessary, I think there's just too much time dedicated to those parts. And the other thing as well is that you do have the classic Marvel humor that just undermines the severity of the threat that they're facing. When you have it where you have a messenger come to Earth and say your planet's marked for destruction, you're the protectors of the Earth, but there's absolutely nothing that you can do to stop the Earth from being destroyed. That should really sort of just hit everybody, and should hit the Four in particular, because they've never faced anything like that before. But straight away, we're then met with a bit of Marvel humor where they start going in on Johnny and start just mocking him for having an apparent crush on the Silver Surfer. It doesn't really fit in with it all, and it's just trying to insert a joke just to make it lighthearted again, even though the theme of it isn't really that lighthearted. Now, the only other gripe I have about this movie is something that's been griping me about Marvel movies for a while now, and it's that Marvel was so quick to announce their future projects and give so much information about these projects that it loses all jeopardy in the previous movies. So what I'm going to say is there is a point in this movie where throughout the movie, because Galactus is such a threat, there should be a jeopardy in there where every single character could ultimately be killed off at any point. But we lose that jeopardy because we all know, based on the previous Marvel announcements, that in Avengers Doomsday, every single one of these cast members are going to be in it. But overall, this movie does have the best incarnation of the Fantastic Four that we've had. And whilst there isn't really much to compare it to, hats off to Marvel for actually putting this off. They've actually given us the Fantastic Four that I think best represents them from the world that Marvel has created for them. The special effects are absolutely fantastic and a grade above what we've seen before as well. And the story is great. I mean, to begin with one of their most imposing villains to start off with, it doesn't really give you much room for maneuver, but I think based on sort of the way that the whole Marvel universe is moving towards at the moment, I think it's coming to the end of their story in that world, and they're going to shift over to the main continuity of the Marvel universe. But I mean, that coupled with a little bit of slow pacing and a lack of action, I'm going to give this movie a 3 stars. Also, just to mention that there is a mid and post credit scene. Stay for the mid credit scene because it will further the story on, but please do not waste your time and wait for the whole of the credits, because all you'll see is a segment or a snip of the cartoon show that's referenced throughout this movie. So yeah, don't do that unless you really do just want to see them in cartoon form, but it's not worth it. So that was my review on Fantastic Four First Steps. What did you guys think about it? Have you seen it? Whatever you thought, please pop it in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys take it easy, and I'll catch you on the next one.